Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to the last place on earth, the land of Ameritopica. Café Anyway and Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm doing this podcast and it's episode 2908, 2908. Ain't that great? Do you like this spate of podcasting that is brought to you by the happy folks from Captain Kangaroo? Did you know that show? That went on for so many seasons, so many...
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That, quite a TV show. But what about Beetlejuice?
Mike's
That
Daily
got turned into a cartoon.
Podcast.
Started out as a movie.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in the theater somewhere in Santa Barbara. I think Goleta it was. And there was a girl I went on a date with named Sue. And she was the first gal I ever went on a date with in college who was very, very shorter than me. Though we were the same age, she was just a little bit shorter. It made me feel really tall, even though I'm not that tall. But she was a very smart gal, was in the theater department. And we had a great conversation, but somehow it just did not hit it off. But she really wanted to see Beetlejuice, so we went to see it. And it was, if you went on if that was a date movie for you, then you must have had an interesting date, because it was such a bizarre movie. And I remember that's what I equated with. And hope Sue did well. Hope she got into the movie business and all the stuff she wanted to do in the entertainment industry. And Warner Brothers, meanwhile, has done very well with Beetlejuice. And in this sequel, that how much longer? How long ago was it? So this must have been the late 80s. And here we are in the mid 2020s. Well, you can do the math, but they had the second highest ever opening weekend in the month of September. That's how well it did.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I want to say the original came out probably, it feels like that was somewhere just before summer started, or maybe in the middle of winter. I feel it was a winter spring movie originally, but the podcast picture is of the beautiful area known as Harbor Bay Isle or Bay Farm Island. And I swear, I take pictures all the time, but for some reason, the day I was there recently, just got some really great pictures. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. I know I post a lot of pictures from that area, but I will find a different location to show you cool pictures from soon at mikesdailypodcast.com. The last one was of the late great Basil the Boxer. And there he is now barking at us. Hopefully not saying Beetlejuice 3 times, but it had the second highest ever opening weekend in the month of September. And, you know, it stands to reason, because I know a lot of us were talking about it around my circle about, oh my gosh, I remember when that came out, Winona Ryder was so young. It was one of Tim Burton's early movies. He did that before Batman. He did all the cool stop motion photography that they do with the kind of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation type thing, like he did with Nightmare Before Christmas. And so it was a very interesting movie for its time, but it grossed in at $110 million domestically in its first weekend. The box office struggles from August to October, did you know, due to a lack of highly anticipated tentpole movies. They call them tentpole movies. And if you're watching the very cool video that I did on Facebook, facebook.com.
Is that why you're bald, Mike?
/ Mike's Daily Podcast. Yes, I'm bald because of Facebook. You're so dumb. But no, it is got a cool effect where I've got these sunglasses that pop in front of my regular glasses, and then they disappear. It's very bizarre. Very Alice in Wonderland, which was another movie that Tim Burton did later on. But that was when he got out of the whole stop motion photography and wanted to do more of his CGI type stuff, which is just not as a wow. It doesn't have that Tim Burton wow to it. The top movie in September ever was from 2017, and it was Stephen King's It. So horror movies work well this time of year. I don't know if you call Beetlejuice a horror movie. Let's just say it's a comedic spoof of horror movies. But however, Mr. Dennis Quaid did rather well with his movie that was made by some...
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Well, not by robots on another planet. I would say, though, it was made by more of a Christian-backed company. Reagan pulled in a $5.1 million in its second weekend. It has grossed $18.4 million so far against a reported $25 million budget. So they're about to make a profit, as the underwear gnomes used to say in the South Park world. And South Park, of course, uses bunches of CGI. They have a type of equipment that allows them to do their cartoons that should be the type of stuff you would see making a Marvel movie that you'd see because all CGI is done. All Marvel movies are full of CGI. They're basically just CGI from start to finish. But South Park uses it for that really crude animation that it was built on with the construction paper originally. It was construction paper based animation, and then eventually they fed it all into this computer, and then they could do CGI. And then they did it with the CGI type system, and then they built on from that. And I think they get pretty elaborate these days. But the thing is, with computers, you have AI.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
And they do amazing things, like maybe they make you want to sing into a Mr. Microphone, like that guy was, or talking to a Mr. Microphone. But it's glow times. We're not fascinated by Mr. Microphone. We're just fascinated by the glow. Apple is seeding an upgrade cycle. Apple will reveal its new AI enhanced iPhone 16 lineup. And let's see, they've got the AI integration only available to users running its newest hardware. As we go outside a cafe, where are we bringing Mike's Daily? Café Anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily podcast somewhere in PodCastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Maritopica. I have a touch of the Bidenism, the Biden disease. Shouldn't make fun of that. That's just called old age, really, or whatever some people say he has. But certainly Kamala did a much better job, much better job, and did basically what a lot of people
Anyway,
at Café Anyway, well, let's just say a lot of people that are not the biggest fans of Trump were saying, why didn't Biden say any of this to Trump in the debate? Well, Kamala made sure to say it. So, however, a very right-leaning news network, I heard the only thing they said right after the debate was, Kamala wanted her podium shorter to make her look taller. And I thought, Caddy, what? And none of the people on the right have ever done anything like that to make themselves look better. Any of the amazing the stuff that one puts on one's skin to make one look tan, that's an example. Anything like that. I'm amazed they didn't comment on Kamala's hair. Oh, maybe she colors it too. What? Anyway, it just seemed like a horrible observation for a well-known news network to say in their news report right after the debate, but I guess it's to be expected. But that's all I will say about that. There was a lot of, it just sounded like Trump was a lot more unhinged in this particular debate than he was in the last one. Because the person he was debating was actually there and awake and not having a cold or whatever.
Mike is awesome.
Oh, and by the way, this story about Apple I got from that guy right there, Rob Black. He is on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings. He's also on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour. And I produce his podcast. So Apple revealing its new AI-enhanced iPhone 16 lineup with the support of what it's calling Apple Intelligence built in. AI. Instead of artificial intelligence, it's Apple Intelligence. Because who wants anything artificial in this world? Like a fake tan or fake news. The AI integrations will only be available to users running its newest hardware. Oh, that was another thing they said. And ABC, they actually fact-checked Trump while he was up there. Yeah, well, that's what the other, was it CNN? That's what they should have done. And in the time that Biden and Trump debated 4 years ago, Fox should have done that. They all should have done that. What the heck? Oh, but they didn't fact-check Kamala. I distinctly heard... I don't know the names of the anchors, but one of the anchors basically cut off Kamala when she was trying to defend herself after some crazy allegation that Trump made. And they just cut her off. And I thought to myself, wow, the news media is so left-wing. Look at them just stomp right on Kamala. That makes it sound so... No. They're more right-wing than the right-wing talk show hosts.
It's a trap!
It's a trap if you listen to them. Emperor Akbar, or was it Commander Akbar? Akbar would tell you it is not Babar the elephant. That's a wonderful book that was given to kids in the 70s by their parents. Like, hey, read about elephants. But no, they just bring that out all the time. All media is left-wing. You can't trust it. That's what all the people on the right-wing talk show hosts on the radio say constantly, over and over again. But then I constantly hear things that are very right-wing about legacy, quote-unquote, legacy media, corporate media. Like them cutting off Kamala. It's just they were doing it. And they were letting Trump, whatever Trump wanted to add, they were letting him add. Because they know they get that criticism all the time. But the thing is, you can be the most right-wing kissing network on the planet, and the right-wing talk show hosts are going to say that you're left-wing and the left and blah blah blah. It's just, I hate that. It's called obfuscation, and it's annoying. Apple Intelligence will only be compatible with the iPhone 15 and above. So sorry if you bought an old phone. Your iPhone 4 won't be able to have Apple Intelligence. Surprise, surprise. It's a risky move by Apple, as most consumer AI features.
Makes music.
Oh. I'm living in an AI world, and I am an AI not girl, and it is Mike Matthews with these weird sunglasses that keep popping up on my face in this video that no one's watching, but hopefully they're listening to the podcast. It's a risky move by Apple, as most consumer AI features these days really only require an internet connection to use. And there's OpenAI that's got the AI, the ChatGPT, the thing that Copilot thing that, Copilot wants to tell me something. That would be off of Bing or Microsoft Edge. It's a whole Microsoft thing. So I asked it about, a lot of people in relationships, their significant other will get distracted by what's on their phones, on their smartphones. And they look at their smartphones and they get all absorbed and they're reading or they're playing a video game or whatever. And it's great to know that humans are reading and that they're engaged with a computer in their hands, not engaged with the person that's 5 feet away from them. And this happens to parents. It happens to all sorts. So according to Copilot from Microsoft, their AI, their ChatGPT based thing, there are several reasons why people might engage in this behavior. It's number one, out of habit. Many people are so used to checking their phones frequently, it becomes a reflex. Great song from Duran Duran that Niles Rodgers produced. Not Chewbacca. Even during conversations, it becomes a reflex to check it. Then there's number two, notifications. Turn off notifications, everybody. All the experts tell you, turn off notifications. Notifications can kill you, literally. They'll distract you when you're driving. Next thing you know, you're driving into something you shouldn't be. And I made that as light as possible, but you know how really serious it is. Notifications, constant notifications can be distracting and hard to ignore. Then there is multitasking. Some people believe they can multitask effectively, even though it often leads to divided attention. Even if you think, oh, I can multitask. No, your attention is divided. Don't think nobody can do it. It's humanly impossible. The human brain just cannot do it. No matter even if you're a zillennial that was brought up on multitasking. Nope. There's two more. Social norms. In some social circles, it might be more acceptable to use phones during conversations. And then the final is boredom or disinterest. If someone isn't fully engaged in the conversation, they might turn to their phone for entertainment or distraction. And that makes the other person feel so good. So, yes, that was pulled. They often tell you where they get that info. And this Copilot did not tell me. Yeah, usually they show you the in the footnotes. Footnotes is funny. Someone writing notes on their foot. What? So the AI stuff that exists today, Google now has, when you're in Gmail, their Gemini, the little Gemini star that's right next to the grid, the three dots going up and down, making a little dot square that you click on to get to the Google apps. Well, right next to that's Try Gemini, and they're trying to get you into it. And then there is X's Grok. All operate in the cloud and not on your PC, did you know? Or on your phone. So Apple is trying to do that AI stuff. The tech giant, and it's only available in their iPhone 15 and above. The tech giant is also expected to launch new models of AirPods and an Apple Watch as well. So, in the last bits of info that I have for you, speaking of phones, Huawei's trifold phone, and I saw a phone that folds just in one fold. And I already saw, and they're a pretty wealthy person. So I knew they had to buy.
What was that all about?
Well, not as wealthy as you, but they use this, just to make it kind of show the world there that they're rich. And I could see already that it really messes up the screen, because this phone is folding in half. There's no way the screen it's going to compromise the integrity of that screen, no matter what they do. But they're trying to make these foldable phones. It did make it much smaller. That made it like your typical smartphone. It made it half the size when it folded, as you would imagine. Huawei's trifold phone, called the Mate XT, gets 2.7 million pre-orders ahead of that Apple iPhone 16 launch I mentioned. Michael Jordan can't sell his home north of Chicago. It's been on the market for 12 years and counting. Despite lowering the initial asking price from, $29 million down to a little over 14 million. Well, let's just say a little under 15 million. That's a better way to put it. Finding a buyer has
Mike, how are you?
Has been difficult. I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking right in the middle of my story and interrupting me. And finally, OnlyFans. They are printing money because they got 50% margins. They're doing well. They're making a lot of money. Last year, the company made $650 million on revenue of $1.3 billion. And OnlyFans has been described as the not just porn, but definitely a lot of porn site. That is what's happening there. That's all I know about it. I swear. I will leave it there because it's not a place that our younger listeners should go to. If there are any younger listeners listening. Okay, ever so quickly changing the topic to the fine people that are outside of Café Anyway. Look who's here. Hello, Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. All that interesting information was fascinating. And
what is the matter with you?
And I wanted to ask that question. What is the matter with you? Well, let's see. Earlier today, I had half my face numbed, as then a dentist went, a new dentist that I've never used before, went in with a very loud whirring device and bore deep into my teeth to remove any bad cavities. So doing a very horrible thing to make a very good thing happen, and that is that there would no longer be cavities in my teeth. But ooh, the sounds in my head as it was drilling, it wasn't just like hearing the drill with my ears. I could feel it inside my whole head. And the sound like bounced around in my head in a very interesting way, as someone who makes a living out of sound, who is always immersed in sound in my livelihood. To feel sound just bouncing around in your head is a weird thing.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Well, Hal, I hope you don't do that to me. And I hope that dentist doesn't have to do that to me for a number of years into the future, because I don't want to have that procedure done again. Did not like it. Mike Matthews, that sounds like a horrible experience. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. It's very, what's that show? Little Shop of Horrors-ish as we get close to Halloween. And that's what I was there. And I noticed that her dentist office was empty. She's got like 5 or 6 stations where she has different dentists working on people, but she was the only one in there. So maybe that was a bad sign. Or I just came in on an off day. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, perhaps your dentist was just telling everybody that you're very important and everyone else should leave so that she could work on you in peace and quietude. Mm-mm. Okay. Not sure then why there was a 4-year-old running around the facilities. Cute little 4-year-old. She made me a little picture out of some crayons she had. She drew a picture. I don't know what it was. Looked like the letter C. Maybe she's learning to spell. Anyway, Café Anyway. And someone's drilling into your face. The last thing you need is a 4-year-old running around. But hey, good to see she's learned to walk and she's doing it very well. And she's already showing an interest in being a dentist.
There's the childish nicknames.
Oh.
The crazy conspiracy theories.
What?
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Who could he be talking about? That was something Kamala did right there in the middle of the debate. Actually, I came in maybe in the middle of the debate. I don't know where I was in the debate. And then I left. I couldn't listen to too much of that. As a child of a divorced parents, of a divorced family, I heard a lot of arguing between men and women, and that was something I get flashbacks. It's a trigger, yes. But, she did mention to him something about, hey, and then he has people that go to his rallies that leave early. Once Trump gets on stage and starts to talk, they leave. And he took you could tell that riled him up. He lost his bleep. When she mentioned that, wow, that was an interesting moment. So obviously someone coached Kamala in how to press his buttons. Well, that's all I'm going to say about that. Is that all I'm going to say about that? Probably not. But anyway, Café Anyway, what do you want to say about that? Here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to reach me, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you for listening to this wonderful podcast that is called Mike's Daily Podcast Live from podCastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!